We have this game to cast together, and I think everybody's pretty hyped to see what's going to happen, you know? Especially if we have a big smoke right off the bat in the top lane. Arrow not going to be able to quite connect, though, so Nightfall will be able to walk away. But who are you favoring in this matchup?
Just in terms of draft alone, I really like what Evil Geniuses have going here. I think they have a really nice game plan that we kind of saw a little bit of yesterday with the Snapfire and Storm playing together. And I think we're going to see really high tempo play from EG, something that we're not really used to recently.
I mean, for a long time too, right? NA was kind of that region that, spent a lot of time mostly farming, laying back. But like you said, this particular combo, especially the way that Abed likes to play his Storm, is very aggressive. And then when you see what you've got lined up here on the side of Quincy, it also feels like they'll be making a lot of moves early on as well. So looking forward to a bloodbath here.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, Impale a little bit off the mark. But what we saw yesterday, actually, Moxie, was there's a lot of play around the mid lane during the water runes to the first 10 minutes. So I'm just really curious if we're going to see a little bit more of that roaming action, because it was just a lot of fun compared to what we've been seeing.
It's definitely nice when you can see, the supports are able to make those rotations, especially when you've got, heroes like a Storm Spirit who is pretty, dependent upon getting those runes depending on how much RAS he's taking. Same thing going here with Quinn. Just being able to control that gives you such an edge nowadays.
Oh, absolutely. And we've seen Quincy crew do another interesting lane swap, a little bit of what we saw yesterday. They keep putting Paulo on the bottom lane and Milan on the safe lane.
They've been moving things around a little bit. There's definitely, the potential in this top lane, right? You've got Yoar and Milan. We just saw, Yoar doing the spin over on Jarek, so just having to be very careful. But you do have very good aggression coming out as well, with the fact that you've got a Bane who's going to be able to trade very well, and then also set up any sort of potential spears that Mars might want to throw out.
Of course, and in terms of kill threats, I don't think Yoar should be that concerned, right? There is the potential of a Nightmare set up into a spear, but typically Juggernaut is most afraid if he doesn't get the kill after Blade Fury on a tanky hero like Mars, and there's some kind of follow-up stun, right? But Bane's damage output is not that fast or bursty, so I think Juggernaut's going to be quite comfortable in this top lane. And as we've seen a couple of times, there's just Milan ready to arrow the range creeps. He's gotten the first two. So I think that Quincy crew have something really good going for them on this top lane. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, we're going to just see it ramped up a little bit once you get that level 2 Ion Shell. Probably just going to have Ponlo playing behind the tower, similar to what he did with his Tidehunter yesterday.
Seems to be the case here, as he's already, they're pulling the wave. You can see that Crit's doing his best to try to do some harass, try to make them pay for it, not let them get this for free. But water runes are indeed up. Looks like each one will be able to go and grab the collected runes. So not seeing that big rotation like we were kind of hoping just yet.
Yeah, I think it's a bit too early on at this point of the game to rotate, right? It has to happen by nature of just the lane being in a good place. And right now, they're really ramping up the aggression on EG safe lane.
Top lane again, seeing that spin. Jerax is going to fall to Yoar here. So a very nice setup here in this top lane. It's going to give him a little bit of that edge. He's got to be feeling pretty happy about it.
And that was a kill pre-boots, right? So Bane is not the slowest hero. He's pretty fast, so he kind of had to misstep a little bit out of position there and just got run down with a Blade Fury. So he has to be very careful of his positioning now. And after that kill, Yoar already has his boots coming to him in the courier. And we're going to see them go for kill after kill now with the Juggernaut Blade Fury.
That is going to be very, very scary. Especially, you think of Bane being one of those supports that's able to, be a little bit more sustaining, right? Because he does have the brain sap, he's able to trade, but you do have to be just so very careful when you have that speed advantage on the Jug, and you can continuously harass with the Marana here. But
yeah, for sure. I mean, Juggernaut is actually a really strong laner in the right conditions, right? And those conditions are that he just does enough damage in the Blade Fury to not die afterwards. And he's really under no threat of that.
Bottom lane, Kessie just getting a little bit too cheeky over here, so they're going to punish it over on the side of EG.
Dude, that is so much damage with the level 2 little Shredder and a Blightstone on crit. Like, if somebody gets cookied and stunned, you don't even have time to surge away like we saw Kessie do. You're just dead.
It's kind of interesting the way that both of these drafts were created because, you know, one of the big things that we talk about is having that latch, right? Having something that's going to be able to, you know, kind of start off a fight and you have to make that split decision. Do you leave them behind or do you commit to a whole fight? And you do have these Knights heroes that can kind of create these very opportunistic moments
For sure.
on both of these teams.
Is latch some NA Dota terminology? Because
I don't know.
I don't think I've ever heard that. But
I mean, that was something that SVG like mentioned during a cast, and I like the terminology of it, right? Because you understand what a latch means.
yeah, I guess so. It kind of works. Latch.
Can you think of a better term? I'm totally open to it.
No, I'm happy to adopt this term. So from now on, we'll talk about latch. But as far as the mid lane is going, Ovid actually has been forced back to base by Quinn. So he's just gonna walk back. Meanwhile, Quinn's just gonna sit on his lane, nice and cozy.
I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about playing a Kunkka, right? Is the fact that you have the X marks the spots. You can just go, you know, when you run out of that region, just teleport back and go right back in again. Bottom lane, Quincy might be in for a little bit of trouble here. Cookie Hop coming out from crit, that little shredder like we talked about, and Arteezy going to get another kill down here.
Well played. This bottom lane is really on point, and it's just gonna get worse and worse with the levels that they acquire. So typically when Darkseer hits level 3, you kind of have to play behind the tower, but Crit is not letting them do that. He's just been keeping them around 40 to 50% HP. So every time they commit to a wave or to even try to do some lane manipulation shenanigans, they've just been punished by this Wraith King and Snap.
Is there anything that they could possibly do to try to, you know, equalize this a little bit more? Or?
I mean, now that Crit has rotated out of bottom, they can harass the Wraith King a little bit more and just go back to the lane manipulation, right? The issue with what was happening before was they were constantly not at full resources. But now that they're just back to full, Crit's not there, they can play the lane the way they're supposed to.
Moves being played over here a little bit on Quinn. You saw that the Snapfire made the rotation to make sure that they could pick up that illusion rune here for Abed. But no hard committal on it just yet. But top lane, a little bit of scuffling back and forth. But I mean, it's interesting because we said that, you know, very aggressive sort of heroes and draft coming out, but it's still fairly quiet. And as I say that, you know, Ponlo is just getting shredded over here. A little bit of a surge coming out from Izzo to make sure that he can make it out.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're talking about, right? If they get caught and they're full, they're not going to die. They're going to be able to surge away. But when they've been getting zoned out from level 1 and made sure they're not full, it's been really scary for them. But I think now they're in a better position, Quincy crew, I mean, to get something out of the lane. But you definitely have to watch out for this kill threat coming out of Snap and Wraith King. It's nothing to be scoffed at. I'm actually more curious about this Mirana Juggernaut combo. I wonder how it came to be. I assume that this Mirana is a hero that they picked with the consideration of Bane coming up because it did come out earlier in the draft, but it's a very surefire way to cancel Fiend's Grip from a long distance. So that way you don't actually end up committing your Nyx to stopping the Bane, and you can just have him trying to interrupt either the Storm or the Snap. So that really could have been the reasoning in picking this hero.
Interesting concept for sure, like the idea of being able to just, you know, stay back and not have to commit any sort of resources necessarily other than, you know, just a low cooldown spell. It's kind of the same thing that we saw briefly when, you know, OD was very popular. Some of the teams were picking up that Monkey King, right? Just being able to sit back and cancel out the meme hammer.
Absolutely. Any kind of stun like that versus OD is really important. But I think that says a lot about how much Quincy crew are going to value the vision that the Nyx is going to provide for them in this game. Because you absolutely do not want to commit his spells or his Vendetta breaking to just canceling the Fiend's Grip. So I think in this scenario, I do like Mirana a lot.
We're going to see a rotation into the top lane. Abed joining up with Jerax and Nightfall because they do find themselves a nice tidy stack over here on the side. So with that Arcane Rune, Abed's going to take advantage of it, get himself an Arcane Ring for his troubles.
That's a lot of fun. Just found a free stack top lane and walks away.
Uh-oh. Quinn, though, had made his own rotation. Nice setup coming out from Jerax. Will spear him over to the wall, dragging right back in with Abed. Jerax will get the final kill. Now Yuar is forced. Oh, he can't get out in time, Crit, with the cookie. That's a double kill for Jerax, and even more stacked creeps here for Abed.
That is so well played. That cookie was frame perfect, right? Yar was so close to getting out there. And these EG rotations, starting from yesterday, have just been so clean. I actually wonder what kind of difference happened between yesterday and the day before in their first game versus TSM. Because they're looking like an entirely different team.
It makes you wonder, what exactly kind of clicked for them if they just, started the day off fresh again. But look at this. You can see it in the replay here. Look at that. Just at the right second coming out from Crit. Managing to cancel out Yoar's TP.
Yeah, that feels really good, dude. And not only did they get the 2 kills there, Storm Spirit farmed the big camp stack that Dyer had going, gets those 2 kills with his team, and then walks and farms his triangle that JRX stacked up for him. He spent a lot of the early game just making stocks. So Storm Spirit is looking towards a really early Orchid.
I mean, that's definitely the efficiency of making rotation and then just having a couple stacks waiting for you. But again, some poking and prodding over onto Quinn. The drag back, followed with the cookie, and RTZ is joining in the fun here. Go drop some of these Snapfire kisses. They just want to get the final hit off on Quinn. It's going to be Abed who seals the deal. They make their rotation over to this mid tower.
That was really clean. They're just playing on every rune. They're bringing as many heroes as they need to. Like, even RTZ was there for that kill. They just get the mid tower afterwards. Honestly, they're snowballing pretty well right now, and I'm really concerned for this Juggernaut's ability to play this game, right? Because not only did Storm have an excellent start, he's gonna have that Orchid within 2 or 3 more minutes. And Juggernaut is a hero that depends on his Blade Fury to be able to farm these lanes aggressively and to get as much of the map out as he can. And with the threat of Orchid on Storm, his map becomes that much smaller, and if he gets caught out in any way,
that Fiend's grip, drag back again from Abed. He'll collect another kill, and Pondo's gonna take a little bit of a nap here, but they're just gonna start chasing after him until he's able to walk away.
Yeah, another freebie. That's gotta feel good. But yeah, like I was saying, if he gets caught out in any way, it's gonna spell death for him. And the issue with the draft Quincy crew have right now is that if Juggernaut is not able to rotate with his team early on, they lack damage because Darkseer is not ready to fight.
Well, this could pose something nice here for Quincy, but I'm not sure they have quite enough damage. So Nightfall will be able to teleport after using the arena and not being able to connect the spear or get the kill. So a little bit of breathing room here for the side of Quincy crew. But again, you still have this massive threat in the form of, Abed, who's doing quite a nice job and making rotations, farming, and has, nice ways of being set up from the rest of his team too.
Yeah. And Darkseer has Vanguard up, which was necessary in his lane, but it's going to make it so that they're still going to lack that mid-game damage issues if Juggernaut can't join the fights. So I'm actually pretty concerned for the direction this game is headed for Quincy crew. I do think that off of the back of maybe 1 or 2 really good smokes and good initiations, maybe going on that Bane first, getting rid of these 2 backline supports, they can win the fights.
They're going to try to take a fight right now. The X marks the spot with the boat. Cookie from Crit, trying to give just a little bit more time. They'll go drop the wall. Spin coming out from Yoar. Couple more hits up. Hondo getting into position here. Is looking to try to get the impale, but yes, they'll land it. But the zip in immediately from Abed, just jumping around. They'll find Yoar. Look at the kill to cancel the Snapfire kisses, thanks to having that Spike Carapace. Rest of the team now scrambling. They don't want to take this fight, and that's not the way they wanted that fight to go at all, especially when you teleport this many heroes up in this area.
You teleport your heroes, you commit the wall, you commit the boat, you run your Juggernaut down too, and it's just not enough to get the kill. And Wraith King was so tanky with just an armlet. Now Quincy crew don't have any cooldowns, and they're just gonna have to give up this top tower. That's really concerning. We also see that RTZ is going for a Deso next, so it's not going to slow down the game in any way. Once this Deso comes up, the pace is going to be doubled for Evil Geniuses.
Yes, this is definitely, all cylinders, very aggressive Dota coming out from the side of Evil Geniuses. And, I like it. I like being able to see them be super active, making these movements around together as a complete unit. Because sometimes, you'll see them kind of walk away, let RTZ just continue to farm by himself, but this time it feels like he's very active, and I like to see that as Case's courier gets killed here.
Yeah, I think Arteezy gets way too much flack as a carry player. He does play a very active style of carry if the game allows for it, right? It's not like he just wants to sit and farm forever. But sometimes if you are picking these Terror Blades and you've conceded to losing your lane like yesterday, you have to sit in the triangle and farm for as long as you can. But because he had such a winning lane with the Snapfire, and he's just allowed to move in the map as he pleases.
That's definitely the dream of any Dota player, being able to just move around as you like. Hop forward coming out from Milan. Nightfall following up. Beautiful arena. They'll just rip apart Milan here. Ponlo take a little bit of a nap. They've got vision. They've got the cookie. They've got all the damage necessary. As Quincy Crew continues to just hemorrhage here.
Yeah, nice little setup by Jarex, just hiding on that little cliff by the wards. Cast the Nightmare on Nyx.
Which is funny because, you know, they have so many options of being able to, you know, get vision when you look at the drafts, but you don't necessarily think of, you know, your position Jerax over here being the one to be in the position to make these things happen. It's all bad. The jump forward again from Nightfall. Right place, right time. So much damage. Cookie out down to the low ground here. Can they finish off Quinn? Yes, they'll be able to find it. Arrow coming out over onto Crypt, but they're chasing after Kezu. Couple more hits. That right going through. That is a kill for Abed as he's going to try to get out. Oh, the feed script from Jared will make sure that he is able to escape. Oh, that is when you tip your support player, because he's definitely gonna die here, but he is gonna make them work for it, Effie.
Dude, you saw the relief on Abed's face. Really unfortunate that Milan's arrow actually connected with Snapfire. He really needed it to hit Storm, because Abed was just styling there. And if Kunkka gets initiated on and you don't have that extra Storm, there's nobody to stop him from wreaking havoc in these fights. But you know how difficult this game is for Quincy Crew when the Kunkka without items is queuing up for a first item BKB. No armlets, nothing else, first item BKB. That is the only way they can play this game. And even then, they're just gonna have damage issues. Really, this Juggernaut does have a Maelstrom and is working his way to a Yasha, but it's still not enough. Meanwhile, you look at Wraith King, he's got his Desolator, he's got his armlet, they're considering maybe going into Roche.
You know, we talked about, and the double damage on top of that. Yes, this Roche definitely belongs to the side of evil geniuses.
There's really nothing Quincy Crew can do, even if they have a read on it. It's gonna be way too late, and they just don't even have the best means to take the fight. Sure, they have the wall, but they're still gonna encounter the same damage issues.
One more hit. Abed grabs himself that Aegis, and he's already just such a threat on this map. He hasn't died once yet. He's 6-0-4 with an Aegis and the Orchid. It's just, how do you move around on the map at all? Like, you see the way that Quincy Crew is moving, and they're just grouped so tightly together because they know they can't afford to get picked off. But I don't think they can afford to take a team fight either.
I mean, there can be conditions where the team fight can happen, right? You've got vision of the backline. You can take them out first to make sure the Bane and Snap can't protect any of the heroes or cast their spells. And you do have a threat with the Vac wall eventually, right? The fight just has to be set up in a way where they have superior vision and they catch EG off guard. But it's just so hard right now. They're gonna try to do something like this now with this Rise of Moonlight Shadow.
Immediately see the other sentry placed down, so you can see the pings coming out.
Honestly, I really wonder, when I see a team like EG just look so starkly different than how we saw them on day one,
Radiant's bottom tower is
I just
under attack.
think to myself, can this all of this can just happen in one day? A series that was played the day before, they could have looked terrible, and then the next day they're suddenly on their A game. And I just wonder if the DPC format that we have right now is actually not the best measure of telling us what the best team in a region is, if so much can change within a day.
Well, I mean, we've had this conversation in past tours of the DPC where, you know, it's interesting as well when you go to those majors, right? Because the majors are set up where it's a, you know, very fast paced. You have to adapt very, very quickly. And some teams do very well with that, you know. They don't need a whole week to prep. Drag back, though, top lane. Kezu trying to make something happen. If they have the X, they've got the boat. Oh, Nightmare, though. Cookie hop forward. They just keep chasing after Arteezy, and they just can't seem to get their hands on them for long enough to do a decent amount of damage.
And they've expended well. If EG just stay in the dire jungle, don't move, wait for the wall to go down, they can just threaten high ground again. to less avail.
All right, BKB is completed now for Quinn. The rest of the team, though, smoked up behind Arteezy. They have to know that he's there. They have to realize, you know, something doesn't seem quite right. But you can see already, okay, Jerax, a follow-up spear over onto Ponlo. So there is just no Nyx Assassin available for this fight at all. And this just gets even harder now for Quincy crew.
Dire's middle tower
They're just gonna bleed out all of their buildings. Yesterday in EG's game versus 4Zoomers, the one saving grace that they had with their Darkseer was that Terrorblade illusion of Arteezy, right? It made it so that there was a way to win the fights. But even in this game, if you're playing from the back foot and you're going to depend on the wall as your big team fight cooldown, what are you gonna clone, right? This Wraith King illusion is garbage. It barely does anything. Even for Armlet Deso, these are not necessarily stat items unless the armlet is on, and it's not even much of a threat, right? They placed it on Arteezy earlier on when they were going high ground, and he just walked away.
Oh my god, well, there was a Quinn there. He is no longer with us. He didn't even get the chance to activate a BKB. That feels very, very bad if you're a Quincy crew fan right now. You're struggling to figure out how do they make their way back into this game.
Right now there isn't much you can do. You don't have boat, you don't have wall, you can just look for like a kill on the side. Oh, they
found a kill on the side, but it's not the team that you're thinking here. As they do manage to go take out Nightfall, but they drop the wall again. They just don't have anyone to quite follow up here as Abed finding himself Ponlo. Remove him from the fight.
It's really nice to see Orchid Storm back in action. I got so tired of every single Storm Spirit and Queen of Pain go Kaiosange throughout all of DPC Season 1. And it just reminded me that this hero can just be a map threat with one item alone in the right conditions.
Oh dear, they found Quinn again, and I don't think... Okay, this time he gets to activate that BKB, but there's so much physical damage. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to survive this. All right, he's going to have to dig his way out here, but that's not how... Oh, look how low he's sitting, too. Oof.
Pig pulled to safety, but they did get his BKB. That's pretty huge. There's also no vote for 45 more seconds. And EG are smoking. They're not going to turn down this aggression.
They've got no reason to turn down the aggression at this point. Look at this, just jumping right forward. Sees Milan. We're out a bit of a nightmare here. Leap forward, jump forward here. Coming out from Kazu. Nightfall following up. Kazu's just smacked out of existence.
So Mirana was woken up, but you end up trading your Darkseer for Mirana. You just let it
we
go.
want to see Arrow coming through here. They grab Quinn. Is he going to be able to escape? No, they find the kill. Arteezy taking decent amount of damage. Milan will be next to fall. Incarnation back up on Arteezy. I don't know, Effie. This is... They've got good spirits at least. You know, they give each other high fives. Drag back, though, over onto Ponlo. Followed up. It's a triple kill now for Arteezy. And they go right back to smacking the tower.
Man, this is really hard to watch, honestly. But EG are on that upwards momentum. Like, this has to feel good. This has to feel validating, really.
I mean, there's a lot of EG fans right now that are very, very happy because, you know, at the beginning of the winter tour, they looked, you know, not that strong. It looked like they were having trouble, you know, fitting all the pieces together. But I would say Nightfall's performance this time is looking very, very good here with the amount of just follow-up that they have. It feels like they're very in tune with one another, especially with, you know, the fact that Abed's zipping in and, like, getting some of that vision.
Oh,
even though, you know, he is playing from, like, what, he's playing from Mexico, is that it?
Yeah, but it's like 50 ping.
I like how Sunspan was, like, making it sound like he's on, like, 9,000 ping.
It's 50 ping. I can't. I mean, I'm Middle Eastern, right? So I play with 90 ping, and I think that's really fucking good. Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
It's fine. We know how you feel about the ping, though.
I keep cursing accidentally.
Okay. Ponlo is looking to make some moves here, but there's the regen rune picked up from Abed. He's considering going back in.
Yeah, but
even
even yesterday, Nightfall was even more on point than this one game, and he's been playing really well today. But Nightfall is... Thing? Yes? Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you cut out there for half a second. You started saying Nightfall is, and then I lost you.
He's an incredibly oppressive laner, and that does fit EG to a T on paper, right? And he's just been bringing his A-game. He's shown us how good he is on lane, and when he's getting these clean initiations, it looks like a world of a difference.
That's a huge team fight. They just went and they lost multiple heroes over on the side of Quincy crew. You are spinning around. He's hoping to at least get Jax, but the Fairy Fire is going to keep him alive as Nightfall again. Oh, just a little bit off the mark here. The follow-up, though. Ponlo be able to land a nice impale. The cookie forward, RTZ. Turning back around, a big hit coming out from Nightfall. They'll turn their attention to Yoar underneath his own towers. They'll spear him down. And that's 4 dead on the side of Quincy crew. GG gets called. EG just looking way too strong.
What do you call that, Moxie? The word you have for this?
What?
Aren't there tiers for shellackings or whatever? There's a tier list, right? But I don't know which one it is. Which one fits?
Oh,
into this.
I don't know if this would be a Gaben's top hat